everyone, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for a new video. Today I have a fun technique where we're going to get 2 cards out of one background, and that's not only going to save you time, but also it's going to allow you to utilize all of that beautiful background and not waste a thing. In today's video, I'm also using brand new products from Hero Arts, including the Flower and Heart cover plate die and Message Basics stamp set. We're going to start first with the cover plate die, and I'm going to cut it from some white cardstock. This is going to give me this really nice, beautiful array of flowers and hearts on this paper. I'm going to do some inlay die cutting with this with a background that I'll end up die cutting, but we have to make the background first. So I'm going to pull out some Bristol Smooth cardstock. This is a really nice paper for doing some ink smushing on. It's nice and smooth so you don't have any texture. And these are the colors of distress inks I'm going to use to do my ink smushing. I have all the products that I'm using listed below in the video description and over on our blog for you to check out. I like to do my ink smushing on a piece of plastic, and I like to use a stamp pocket to carry my ink and then allow me to press it into my paper. It's one of my favorite ways to do ink smushing because I get to control it a little bit more. I get to see where the ink is going to be placed. It's fun to be able to put it down onto a craft sheet and pick it up, but I often find myself using this technique the most when I do ink smushing. So I'm going to use different colors of those inks that I picked out and start smushing them onto my paper to get a really nice array of colors. In between each layer of smushing, I am drying my paper because I don't want the inks to move too much. I want them to be able to stay where I place them. I'm using my distress sprayer to get those inks beaded up on my carrier sheet before pressing it into the paper, so that way they move nicely. And if you want a little bit more movement, you can add more water, or after pressing the ink onto your paper, you can spritz it and get it moving that way as well. So the key here is to just play with the inks and have fun. Press them wherever you want. And having a nice color assortment like this is going to give your card a lot of contrast. You want a mix of lights and darks, so that way you have that variety going on. My darkest color is going to be Wilted Violet, and that's going to add a nice pop of bright purple throughout the panel. Once this was dry, I did want to intensify that purple just a little bit more. So I brought in a tiny blending tool from Holtz and also that Wilted Violet ink, and I'm just going to ink blend over top of that purple that we smushed down onto the paper just to intensify that a little bit more. With some mica stain in both yellow and purple, I'm going to splatter my background to get a little bit of contrast on that ink smushing, and also that'll add a little bit of shimmer. Once my background is dry, I'm going to now die cut it with that Flower and Hearts cover plate die. I'm going to save all those little negative pieces because we're going to start inlaying those into our white panel that we die cut at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the back side of my white panel, and I'm going to glue this onto my top folding A2 card. Both the cardstock for the white and also the card base are Simon Says Stamp 120 pound white cardstock. Now I can work on taking all of my negative pieces from my background panel and start putting them into their corresponding spaces on the white piece. And that's going to fill everything in. It's going to give me this really cool design and nice contrast with the colorful flowers and the white background. I'm using Simon Says Stamp Craft Tacky Glue to glue everything in place. This is a nice strong adhesive. And I'm also using a clear block while I'm moving along to the next area of my paper to allow other sections to have some pressure and allow it to dry nice onto my card panel. I also die cut the cover plate die from some gold cardstock, and I used the gold dots to fill in those little gold areas. I thought that would be a nice bit of interest and some shine. So like I said, we're getting 2 cards out of this. So what I did was I die cut another piece of white cardstock and glued it onto an A2 card base. And then I'm going to glue my background panel that's the negative of these flowers on top of that. So now we have a background that is the reverse of what we've created for the inlay die cutting. And I really liked the dimension of having that second layer of the cover plate die behind my top panel. So I did add another white piece on top of my inlay die cut panel. So here are our 2 card bases. They look beautiful, and I love the reverse. I think that's a really fun way to be able to utilize such a beautiful background like this and get the most out of it. Alright, so we need to add a sentiment. I pulled out the Message Basics stamp set, and I'm going to spell out Happy Birthday to you. I'm going to stamp this onto some black cardstock. This is Rainbow Splash black cardstock, and I'm using Simon Says Stamp embossing ink to do my stamping. I did prep the surface with my powder tool prior to stamping, and then I did sprinkle on some gold embossing powder with Oscar's help. And finally, after heat setting the sentiments, I glued them down onto the bottom right of my card, and that's going to give me a nice bold greeting on top of these very bold cards. I wanted something simple because the backgrounds are quite intense and very detailed, so I wanted the greeting to be something very simple and clean, and I really like how this turned out. So there you have it. In no time at all, we ended up with 2 cards out of one background that we created, and you could make a variety of different backgrounds like this and then turn them into cards just like these. I hope you were inspired by this idea that I've shared today. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and don't forget you can find all the products that I used today to make these cards down in the video description and over on our blog. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I will be back soon with more to share. But until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.